Welcome to week 2 of our Back to Basics barefoot session. So to just recap on last week, we started on the chair, we started doing some rolling through the feet nice and gently to start helping move through those muscles, the joints and the bones. Today we're going to increase on that just a little bit. So I'm going to give you 2 options. You can stay seated on your chair. If we're wanting to increase it, we're going to come into a standing position and we're going to start with our ball rolls. So our foot rolls, sorry. So we're going to bring the ball down onto the floor and I'm just going to keep the ball of my foot on the ground and I'm going to roll side to side just through that heel a little bit. So please remember, in everything that we do when we're mobilizing through the feet, we are opening up a lot of things that are nice and tight and jammed in there. So very, very slowly, if there is any pain whatsoever, please stop. Consult with finding a barefoot podiatrist if possible. And just, again, take it slowly. So you may just want to come down onto the chair and do your ball rolls on the chair. Now, with the positioning of the pressure down, we're coming to the base of the arch. Now I'm turning my leg sideways for you to see, so I'm just going to now come straight ahead. I'm always in that nice postural position, so my shoulders, hips, knees, the alignment's always there. Holding onto the chair if you're needing to, if you're okay with your balance, that's fine. So with that pressure coming down, remembering no cringy faces, so just a nice release through the foot. And we're now going to move mid-arch and I'm going to put pressure down again. So again, there's no cringy faces through. The more we do this, the nicer it feels. So today there might be a little bit of tension, a little bit of tightness. So just know those limitations, and we are starting with a tennis ball if we have one and progressing through to a harder ball like a lacrosse ball or a massage ball. Bring the roll to the top of the arch and we're going to put a little bit of pressure down. Keeping tight through this core, keeping chest up. And we're going to take a nice deep breath and release that one up. Going to take a forwards and backwards roll with that foot. Again, let's just get a really nice focus on your breathing. Okay, so now we're going to take a roll through the foot in a side-to-side motion. So my heel is going to come down. So sideways again, I'm coming down and I'm rolling underneath my toes first. Progressively, I'm going to roll that ball all the way through my arch down to the base of my heel. So the base of the arch. And then we're just going to roll it back, up and underneath those feet. I'm going to come just the top of the arch again along the ball of my foot, and I'm now going to just reposition and backwards and forwards again. And around, so just a nice little circle through, back in the opposite direction. Going to take a deep breath, please. Heel is going to come down and we're just going to move to the other foot. So starting again with the heel. So a roll across the heel. So make sure the ball of your foot is down and we're just rolling side to side onto that heel. And let's now bring the ball to the base of the arch and we're going to put pressure down. So again, no cringy faces, nice releasing through. So it takes time to release through all those joints and muscles, through the bones. It does happen eventually. So bring to mid-arch, pressure down, and in the meantime, you are getting a nice foot massage. We're increasing the circulation down to those feet. And we're working on your balance through the feet. Come to the top of the arch and pressure going down again, please. Keeping your body up nice and tall, keeping your core in and keeping a focus on nice deep breathing. And we're going to roll backwards and forwards with that foot, please. So again, the daily foot rolls are suggested. If you can do them 2 or 3 times a day, even better, but just manage how you do it in case there's any pain there. So nice and slow, nice and steady, but week 2, if we can increase it, the foot rolls, that was ideal. Okay, so taking our deep breath, we're now going to come to the side rolls. So heel is down under your toes, and we're going to roll the ball side to side. And we're going to progressively move all the way through the arch. Whoops. And we're going to come back now to base of toes and just roll it top of your arch along the ball of the foot. And we're taking our deep breath and we're going to bring that ball, pop it out of the way, so on a chair or behind you, and I'm just caught it. We're just going to come with a side to side rock through the hips. I'm just trying to loosen the hips just a little bit. And now we're going to bring a circle through the hip. Again, nice deep breathing. And a circle back in the opposite direction. So we're going to bring it back in now, and we're going to bring a march through. So we're going to do our toes up, big toe up, big toe, little toes down. So keep the small toes flat. So we're not trying to crunch them in, we're wanting to keep them flat on the floor, and we're just going to raise your big toe up. So again, we're going to have a look at this. So we're going to add on a little bit of mobility through the big toe today. Big toe down, small toes up. Small toes down, big toe up, big toe down, and the small toes up. So take a deep breath, bring those toes down, take a step back, and take the foot out on the other leg. Tighten in through the core, please. Flatten out the toes. Deep breath, bring the big toe up. Take the big toe down, raise the small toes up. Big toes down, small toes down with the big toe up. And the big toe down with those small toes up. You're going to take a deep breath and pop the toes down. And I'm just going to get you to come into a march again, and we're going to shake through those legs. Now, we're going to come to do some toga with that big toe today. So I've got a few options for you. If you're able to get onto the floor, we're going to hop onto the floor. If the floor is not an option for you, you've got a few options. So if you are at home and you have your couch, You can pop up on the couch. I have one lady and she's able to bend over and she can do it through bending on the couch. If you are needing to and or have a coffee table again, and you can raise the foot up and you can do your little toga that way. And or if you are able to come onto the floor, it's really important that we are able to get up and down onto the floor. So I'm going to come down onto the floor with you in a minute and we're going to start with some toga. You may want a cushion to prop underneath your hip, underneath your leg. Please grab that and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, for those of you who are sitting on the floor, we're going to come with one leg out in front and we're going to cross the other leg up. We're going to take a hold of your big toe, just under the big toe, under that knuckle, and we're going to do some toga, starting with that big toe. So we're just going to take a little circle through. This is going to start probably being very small movements and motions through that big toe. Unfortunately, again, a lot of the shoe wear that we wear has caused an immobilization through that big toe. So we're just going to try and get a little bit of movement through. Also be mindful if you do have the arthritis through that big toe, we want to take it nice and slowly and you just may not have that range of motion as much. Nice and slow, no pain. And take the circle back in the opposite direction. So it's just a nice, slow movement. Now we're just going to hold again that knuckle in place and just a slight raise, slight pull out and release down. So slight pull and release down. And we're just going to release that down. Now we're going to pop a couple of fingers in between this big toe and we're going to pull it in towards the body and then release. So a couple of holds in and release it back in. So hold in and release. And one more please, so just bring it in and release down. Now the next exercise we're going to do is we're just going to move the big toe backwards and forwards. So bending it through and back up. So there should be quite a range of motion in that big toe, and unfortunately again because of the immobilization in the ways our shoes now have a toe spring, our big toes don't move as well as they should. So we're going to try and help that and get that alignment back through. So again, very slow and steady process. Unfortunately, those beautiful pointy stilettos that look good don't help our feet at all. So if your toe is pointing in towards your other toes, it will take a lot of time, but it will help you do these exercises to help create a bit of separation through those toes. That will help splay the feet and create a bit of balance. So we're now going to come to the big toe and second toe and we're going to take them in the opposite directions. So we're going backwards and forwards and we're just going to now move down through the toes and then come back up again. So coming now please to the second and the third toe. Taking a bit of movement through. So again, nice and slowly, nice and gently as we start through these exercises. And coming down to the fourth and the third toe. So if you have a focus and you're able to look at those feet and the toes, to just get that mind-muscle connection again, back from your foot up through to the brain. And let's come down, fourth and third. One of the big things that we've noticed that unfortunately because we have got our feet in shoes quite often, we've lost a connection from the feet. upwards. So take it back up, please. Fourth and third. So feet are very sensory to the body. They can tell you when it's hot, when it's cold, if it's sharp, if it's cool, if it's calming. And we're needing to get a little bit more of that back into our daily routines. Let's now come back up to third and second. One of my favourite things to do is to stand on a lovely patch of grass. So if you do have a lovely patch of grass around, that is your challenge for this week, is to go and reconnect with a bit of nature and see how calming that effect is in just standing on the grass. And let's come back up now to the big toe and the second toe. Backwards and forwards. Now we're going to hold onto your foot around mid-arch, and we're now going to try and link your fingers through the toes. So this is going to be our challenge over the next few weeks, is to progressively create separation through those toes so we can do this exercise. Holding on mid-foot, and we're just going to take a circle through. So I've been running these classes face-to-face with a group of ladies for the last 6 months. They are progressing. I'm taking the circle back. And we're just going to take a wiggle side to side. So again, nice and slow today. Again, a little bit of a circle. Now, gently we're going to release your leg out. There is probably going to be a little bit of stiffness in that leg, so just give it a bit of a rub through. And we're now going to come to the other side, please. So bringing the foot up, taking a nice deep breath. We're going to hold around the base of that knuckle again, and we're just going to take the toe in a circle motion through. So again, it's just nice and slow, nice and controlled, and know your limitations today. Take your circle back in the opposite direction. Okay, so let's just now wiggle down, holding onto, again, that knuckle, and just a little bit of pulling out. So just a little pull up and down, up and down, up and down, up. And let's release it back down and bring the fingers in between the toe, and we're just going to pull that toe in towards the body. And we're going to release that. Now we're going to take the toe again in that backwards and forwards position. So moving it, bending up and back. So just nice and slow, nice and gently. Okay, now we're going to come to moving forwards and backwards. So big toe and your second toe, please. Let's come down to the second and the third. Okay, so let's now move back down to the third and the fourth, please. So again, let's just get a little bit of a focus on that nice deep breathing. Okay, let's pop it down to the fourth and the fifth, or the pinky toe, backwards and forwards. Okay, so bring it up, third and fourth. And coming up to the second and the third. And let's now come back up to the second and your big toe backwards and forwards. And we're going to now hold mid-arch, please, and link those fingers through your toes and just take your circles through. So please remember, this does take time. And back in the opposite direction, but it is worth it. And let's just take it side to side, please, and a little bit of a circle through again. And when you're ready, we're going to gently take that leg out. Again, give a bit of a rub through the hip and just take a bit of a wiggle through those legs. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to come back up off the floor, and then we're going to come back to doing our big toe raises and the small toe raises and seeing if we've got a little bit of better mobility now that we've manipulated those toes a little bit. Now that we're up off the floor and we've done a little bit of manipulation through the big toe, we're just going to see if we can move it a little bit better. So let's take that foot out in front again. Nice alignment through, tight through core. Take a deep breath in, please, and raise the big toe up. And big toe down and raise the small toes up, please. So it's keeping again nice and tight through the core. Keep a focus, the eye to foot focus. It can sometimes help. So we are trying to get that reconnection through. Small toes down and the big toe up. Big toe down, small toes up. And foot down. So take a deep breath. Let's just bring a little march back through again, and we're going to step out in front with the other side. Tuck through that core, please. Take a deep breath in, raise the big toe up. So with this second round of raising the big toe and the small toes, we are looking at the big toe again. Big toe down, small toes up. So when we do lift that big toe, is it able to come up on a straighter line after we've had the manipulation through, or is it still going crooked in? A little bit more out is what we're looking for, a nice straight line through the big toe. So small toes down, big toe up again. So this one takes a lot of time, a lot of work. And the big toe down, small toes up. Take a deep breath through, and we're now going to march back through, and we're going to come into a neutral position with the feet. So we're going to check down below and check which way our feet are going. Eventually we're wanting them to come nice and straight. We're wanting the feet over the knees and the hips. Let's just take a relax through the knees though, and now let's stabilize through the feet. So the base of the heel, please. Base of the big toes, base of pinkies, and drop the digits down so that flattening onto the ground, we're not clawing the toes up. We're wanting to work at just having a nice neutral balance and resetting that posture slightly. Tuck your bottom under, and let's lock this core in. Body's up tall, and that chest is up nice and tall too. But we're going to bring a little bit of a crunch through the front. So lovely analogy I'm working with my people in class is that we have a little Coke can inside our diaphragm area, and we're wanting to keep a little bit of a crunch onto that when we're standing nice and tall. So if we're leaning back, get that focus of pulling it back in and locking in our little Coke can. Now we've got a nice postural stance through. I want you to take a deep breath in, please, and we're going to raise both big toes up. If we can. We're also going to keep those knees out in that alignment through, so our glutes are switched on. Big toe down, please, again, keeping the knees where they are. Raise the big toes up. And, outer toes, toes down. Tight through, big toes up, please. And let's take them down. Take a deep breath in, raise the smaller toes. All together, keeping the big toes down, knees over feet, small toes down and the big toes up. And we're going to relax them down. We're going to take a march through and we're going to shake your legs out today. I'm just going to take a small side to side step. And we're going to bring a march through. Now we're going to just do a calf stretch to finish up today. So come in behind your chairs, please. And we're going to take the foot down. So the heel is going to come down onto the floor. We're keeping in our hip width position, keeping a nice deep breath. And we're going to now take a deep breath in, please. Exhale and bend the back knee slightly. And we're going to bring that up. We're going to take the other side. So toe heel back, back heel is flat, stretching through the calf. Taking a deep breath in, please. Exhale and bend that back knee slightly. And bring that up. We're going to take a march through. So again, I'm just going to pop this to the side and take a shake through. So a quick recap for today's session and what we're going to add on into this week at home. The foot rolling is going to continue, preferably in a standing position. And as you progress, again, you're going to hopefully increase the texture of the ball. So whether it be a tennis ball and you're moving through to a lacrosse ball. Number two, 2 or 3 times during the week, add in your toga and just start to get that mobility through the big toe. And the third challenge is still keep your 10 minutes of being barefoot throughout the week, but try and find a patch of outside area, whether it be grass, a part in the garden. Always be careful, obviously, of what you've got in your gardens and or in the grassed area, but just let's try and get a bit of a reconnection with nature. So again, I will mention that when we take ourselves out of a shoe, so we're used to being in a heel lift. So if I come sideways, I'm posturally nice and still. If I put a heel on, my knees go out, my hips go into a different position, my lower back gets tighter. So please remember, as we move through these exercises and we're transitioning to doing a little bit more of our barefoot work, there is always a possibility that you may trigger things slightly up. So always consult with a physiotherapist, a podiatrist, again, preferably find a barefoot podiatrist, and your osteopaths. So hopefully you won't need it, but just take it nice and slow, nice and easily, and let's keep working to better balance and getting ourselves back to basics. Thank you for joining me.